Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ball Hour Show with myself, Daps. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. Hope you lot liked the Haringey one. The feedback's been excellent. All the other ones just keep getting at us and, just trying to churn them out. Keep everyone up to date. But yeah, we've got two good manager, coaches, whatever they want us to call them today on the show. Who have we got today? Do you want to introduce yourselves, guys?
Yeah, sure. Mark Bartley, manager of Marlow Football Club. Eighth year at Marlow, so I guess one of the longest serving managers at the minute. Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan Blake, first team coach.
Okay. Did Mark bring you in?
Yeah, Mark brought me in, so it's my second season with Marlow, so
Yeah.
came to help, obviously support him. It's been good, interesting, lots of different characters, which is good.
Yeah. How's your season going so far?
It's all right. I think we started okay. We're not where we want to be at the minute, but we're on our way there, so it's fine. We started pretty well. Had a sticky patch where injuries cost us a little bit, but we started to get back to basics in the last sort of maybe 7 or 8 league games, so back on track.
What were your goals for the season?
To be in the playoff picture at the end, definitely. That's the aspiration clearly for us every season, I think now. And like I said, beginning of the season, I think we're on course to do that. And then we've kind of got, it can happen to any club. You get a few injuries. Unfortunately for us, it's all in the same position. But, we're ready. We're back on track now. So, had a few tough games recently. We've shown up well. But I think we're on track to kind of be there in that sort of playoff shake-up at the end of the season. Because you normally find there are 1 or 2 clubs who pull themselves away.
Yeah.
And then you got another couple that are normally there. But there's probably 4 or 5 clubs that will fight for those last 2 spaces. And we need to be one of those clubs.
Were your objectives shaped by playoffs last year, and you just want to get back in another playoffs?
I'm a winner, so I always look. There are things that are outside of your control, which there are clearly some clubs that will be in a better position financially than where we are.
Yeah.
But we believe that we can make up the gap. So we like being at the top end. We like people looking at us as a side that should be at the top end, and that therefore sets our expectations. So we always want to be in and around that picture, so that's the only reason why we do it.
Okay, I'm going to get straight into it. 8 years, right? How have you managed to keep a job in football for 8 years?
Have a clear plan. I went in with a clear plan. So when I first went to Marlow, when I was playing, Marlow was a club that were in and around this level of football. Probably for the 2 or 3 years previous to me taking over, Marlow were a club that always battling relegation at this level. And when I took over, they'd just been relegated to step 5. So I came into the club had been relegated. Players had gone. Basically, there's only one player that I retained at that point. And I kind of went in with a 5-year plan as to where I was going to take the club. So saying, look, I'll get us out of step 5 back into step 4. And then from there, I'll get us into the playoff picture. And we did that. And then at the end of that sort of period, it was about, okay, what can we do next? And then it was about making sure that we were consistently a side that were at that sort of top end. And so we've been in the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, we're trying to be there or thereabouts. But now when you speak to people about Marlow in this league, they view us very much as a side that's, will be at the top, a side where it's hard to go and get points. We're not seen as a soft touch anymore.
I remember hearing about Marlow. I'm not going to lie to you. They were a bit of a soft touch.
Yeah.
So it's weird now hearing like Marlow being, not contend. Well, I'll say contenders.
Yeah.
I'll say, but one of the better teams.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you lot have done well, man. Because Marlow were just one of those teams where people used to just go and pick up the points. But what's happened where you had to bring Jordan in?
I'm about good energy, right? So for me, football clubs are like family.
Yeah.
So what you try to do is you have a collective of people that are trying to pull in the same direction, but it's about good energy first and foremost. And Jordan's a good, honest individual. Comes in, he adds value in his own right. Anyway, he's good in terms of he's diligent with regards to the research he does on the coaching level. He's thinking about the game a lot. He's always trying to add value, and I like that because it's very similar to sort of my traits. And you have to continually look to evolve, right? Yeah. So I have my views on it, on how we do things, and you need to have people around you that will see it differently, that will challenge you, that will continue to help you develop and move forward. but not always in the same through the same lens that you see things. And Jordan ticks all of those boxes. So,
how have you found it working with football?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think we have I think some people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. I think we have long conversations before training, after training, etc. When we're not training, about the team, upcoming matches, etc. And I think sometimes the players don't see that. So there's a lot more that goes behind it than people imagine. It's not just turn up on a match day and hope it works. It's more about planning, preparation, certain players in different positions in different games for the type of opposition we're going to face. But no, it's very good. I think we work well together.
Had you worked together before?
Nah.
No.
So how did you find each other?
So we,
Tinder.
You guys sound like you know all about it. So. Surely you would have seen us. I mean, you two. You know what I mean?
No, I know Bart's from. I know Bart's from Reading. We both live in Reading, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Bart's very well.
How long's that journey?
So
it's normally not too bad, you know. It should be about an hour and a half, but we got caught on the A40, so it was closer to 2 hours. But it's not too bad at all.
Wow, and you do that. It's so crazy. People don't see the level of commitment.
Yeah.
From managers.
Absolutely,
and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
Did you used to play by any chance? Any of you two? Or?
So yeah, I played a bit. Played at Slough, Burnham, Hayes. So yeah, played at around a few clubs, localish, I guess, between where I live and maybe West London. So I did that for a bit. Played with. I've got two brothers as well that played. I've got an older brother that doesn't play, but two other brothers that played. So we all played together at Burnham. All played briefly together at Hayes. Then one of my brothers went professional, and so yeah, we've always been playing. And I've got family that have been ex-pro. So one of my older cousins has played for Spurs, West Ham.
So football's literally...
I've got a younger cousin that was over here with West Ham until 18. He's in Canada now, playing in the Canadian Premier League. So football's just been
it's just
been it's just what I do.
Did you know you wanted to?
To be fair, it's a good one because I went to the John Millisey Academy School, so it's an academy that sort of affiliated with Reading Football Club, and you obviously play football alongside sort of studies there as well. So that's a very good sort of pathway, and then they allow you to do your coaching badges, etc. across the. And then I went into Reading Football Club. I coached at Reading Football Club for a couple of years, and then I always enjoyed coaching, enjoyed that element of it. So I played obviously at JMA for a little while, but no, I thought the sort of coaching is for me, and developing people is what I enjoy doing. So
would you ever want to go into actual being a first team manager?
Yeah, I think maybe at some point, yes. I think the short answer is yes. I think it's about as and when that opportunity comes up. I think I'm excited about the project we have here at Marlow, and I think it's going in the right direction. And obviously, at Bart's is at the forefront of that as well, and the driving force behind it. So no, I'm fully on board with that at the moment. I think, but long term, and you never say never, do you? So who knows what the future holds?
What's he like as a? what's he like? Does he get on to you?
No, he does, but he demands people to have respect and put in hard work, because that's where he comes from, and that's what he does in terms of his outside of football and inside of football. He demands hard work and you to be on time, do the right things first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. I think we try to do as a club, as a team. We try to do that. I think without anything, you have to have hard work.
That's a great answer. That's
absolutely
a great answer there. He's trying to get that
contract
extension.
That's the ethos. That's the ethos. Look,
contract extension.
It's true though. Look, we don't do this to. We don't get any sort of Jose Mourinho sized checks, right, for doing this job. Most non-league managers won't do. There'll be a select few that get enough from that. And I think, my view is that as part of my role of managing this team is to develop these young men, right? So go back 20, 25 years when I'm in around that sort of age group, we had youth clubs, we had lots of things that went on to try and help you to develop social skills and everything else. You had places that you could go to speak to people about how can I develop myself as an individual. Don't have that now.
Yeah.
I view the football club as being one of those areas and one of those kind of facilities where I'm able to do that, and I'm able to work with these young men and develop them. So what I'm trying to teach them is, yes, do this for Marlow Football Club, but absolutely do this for your life outside of football as well. And what I hope is that in 10 years' time, that might be my son going into a football club. He might be at a space where he doesn't want to listen to me particularly at that time. And what I need is a strong individual there at the football club who he will listen to give him the right guidance and direction. And so that's my job here.
Oh, cool. These answers are just, I feel like they prepared for this one. But obviously you've been there for 8 years now.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the change in non-league football within the 8 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's been the biggest change you've seen?
Biggest change has been the players.
Quality?
Yes and no. So more about how you have to interact with them, their mindset, their approach to how they come into the game. Lots of them have come out of... So if you go, again, they're a product. This is probably the first wave of the football academy generation. So there have been... And what the football academies have done is meant that a larger number of individuals have been involved with professional football clubs for a longer period of time. So before you had academies, when you used to just have the YTS and there was only one team in each age group, you know, you had maybe 5 guys from each age group that would get a pro contract, but now you get to 18, everyone's going into the under 23s, and then they're spilling out with no clear pathway. Football's become a lot more ruthless, and so I think that's filtered down to our sort of level. You get boys that come in that have been at clubs, and some of them just can't adjust because they think, well, I've been playing at this club, so that automatically means I should come and walk into your first team. It doesn't work like that. And their parents are sometimes also believing the same thing, and it's just... So as a manager, you have to be able to manage the player in terms of helping them to develop and everything else, but managing their expectations, but also sometimes managing their families and the parents as well. So
even at this level, the families get involved and...
Well,
of course. I think whether it's your son or whatever it is, I think there's always going to be a passion from the parents to a certain degree, and cousins, brothers, etc. So I think it's about us managing expectations is probably the key thing here, because I mean, people, like I said, people fall out the program for whatever reason. All of a sudden, we have to try and give them a platform to try and get back into that, or go and play at a higher level than the Marlow Football Club is currently at. So it's about managing expectations as well with the players, but also with the parents as well, and carers.
How do you find it coaching? Not to say you have players with egos at your club, but how do you manage or deal with those players? Because I couldn't dare to be.
It's a good question. You have to understand their personal drivers and motivations, I think, behind it. So why do you come to football? Do you come to football because you enjoy it? Do you come to football because you have to come to football, or you come because your mates come? What's the sort of the driver behind it all? So some people come because they really love it. They love the game. They're really passionate about it. Some people come maybe because their friends come. So there's lots of different drivers behind sort of your own personal motivations. So it's about the ego-wise. It's just you deal with it. You learn people's characters. What do they like? What don't they like? At the end of the day, we want people that are trying to pull in the right direction and trying to head to the same goal that Barts and I have. So,
are there players you may allow to get away with more than other players?
Yeah, but I think that's true in any environment, and by that I mean if you're at the earliest stages of the project. So clearly at our level, you get people that are there for a reason. Quite often you get guys with unbelievable ability levels, but they're at our level for a reason. So these people sometimes struggle to deal with, figures where they see that as being authoritative. There are people that struggle to deal with taking on board constructive, criticism, whatever it is. So if you're at the earlier stages, so if you've just walked into the environment, I might need to, or if your background story is different to someone else's, I try to tailor it a little bit. So it might seem to the uneducated eye that I'm letting you get away with more, but actually it's because I know what your backstory is and where I'm trying to help you get to. So, and I think though collectively as a group of players and as a squad, they kind of appreciate that, they understand that, because they can see the progress that some of them have made. So on that basis, I think there are times when people kind of would appear to get away with a lot more, but everybody's different, and there are people that have come from some real difficult backgrounds that we work with, so we need to be cognizant of that.
And that's a good word. I don't know what that means, to be totally honest.
No, we need to be mindful. We need to be mindful of that. Yeah. I know. I see you guys giving me a tough time. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned how the players have changed over the years. When I was younger, it wasn't unfamiliar to have that tough kind of coach, and you just listen. Whereas now, the reason why I wouldn't even think about getting into coaching is because I believe a lot of them just have, you can't tell them anything. And I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not built like that.
Yeah,
anymore.
so like some you can get away with just ripping into them, but you can't even do that anymore. with
Yeah,
players, so-
and some of that's societal change. So some of it's because it's now seen as not necessarily the right thing to do. It's interesting, I was talking to someone yesterday. I was watching my son play, and his team weren't playing very
How's your
well.
son?
He's 11.
Okay.
So I was saying, his team weren't playing very well, and I was saying to one of the other dads, at this point, I would like the manager to really read them the right act.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't for everyone, but that's what I'd like to see him do with that group of players.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be the dad that helps to kind of build them back up at that point. They needed it, but yeah, you now it's difficult to do that. I think also depending on what your upbringing is. So I got brought up in an environment like that where direct feedback was the order of the day. My mum's feeding back to me in 5 seconds, and I need to get it straight. Yeah. So me going into a football environment and somebody doing that to me was second nature. But not everybody's built like that, unfortunately now. Or fortunately, diversity is good and people are different. But yeah, there are times when I've got 10 minutes at half time and everybody's going to have to listen to what I've got to say. So I've not got long enough to kind of put my arm around everyone. Feedback needs to be direct and it needs to be right. So there's a time and a place for it.
Yeah. I heard one of your interviews on another platform. Who was it? Ollie, the non-league show.
Oh, yeah.
On the league show. And you spoke about black managers.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it you feel like there are so few black managers, but a lot of black players?
Yeah. It's one of the things I was mentioning to him is that a lot of it's about the unconscious bias and the way, for me, a lot of it's down to the media and the way that the media portray black players first of all, and then also black coaches, black managers. So with black players, I think it's
Pace some power.
Yeah, pace, power. He's big, he's strong. Rarely is he intelligent. Rarely does he see a picture and play these beautiful passes with the outside of his foot.
Yeah.
And that then features through. If you don't believe that the player is intelligent, then how do you believe that he's going to be intelligent enough to be a leader? Because as a leader, you want someone that's articulate, someone that's strategic, someone that can then convey those thoughts and his sense of direction to the rest of the people that are following him. Somebody that can really command and lead from the front. To do all of those things, you need to have those leadership skills. You need to be able to communicate well. You need to be intelligent. You need to be able to see far enough ahead to say, right, this is how we're going to get from A to B strategically. But you will never believe that I have those skills if all you've heard about me is that I'm quick and I'm strong, right? And you get that in management as the same way. So it's quite interesting because we go and we play teams and you look at our defensive record last season, one of the best in the league. 2 seasons before we got to the playoffs, again, best defensive record in the league. We've had a bad season this season by our standards, and I think we're still the 4th best defensive record in the league. Now, people won't ever say, I've never had someone come up to me and say, wow, tactically you must be good because your team don't give away goals. I'm always seen as this man motivator. Yeah. Give me a problem guy and I can kind of make him the best that he can be because I can motivate him. Yeah. But what they won't say is that, and our team defends differently to how other teams defend. We tear the rule book up, forget what they teach you in the FA handbooks and all that sort of stuff. We defend totally differently. We do things back to front in some ways. And so when people come and join us, it takes them a while to understand how we defend. But we don't give away goals. Yet nobody's going to talk about the fact that, there's been some great strategic thing that we've rolled out. And that's the big problem and like I said, the media is responsible for a lot of it because, of all of the black managers that you've seen, tell me one that they said is a great tactical manager. No. This is what I'm saying to you. You sit down and you see that, the guy that's at Wolves doing a great job. He's got Wolves in the Europa League turning teams over. Yeah. He's here in the Premier League turning teams over. Nobody's talking about how great this guy is tactically. Yeah. You might get good coach. But up till now, I've not heard anybody talk about, a great tactical black manager.
How does that change, though?
Changes by people like me, people like us here talking about this, because we can get this message out. All of a sudden, what the media is finding is that they no longer control 100% of the airwaves. They don't control the way that everybody digests information. And that's a challenge for them. That's a big challenge. They don't like it. Yeah. So, being able to come onto a show like this, us being able to talk about this openly, me being able to get this stuff out, people being able to see that actually I'm not this guy that just is only a motivator is great, because they start to see a side of me that they didn't know existed. This is how you change it. You always change it through dialogue and communication, always through education. And that's what we're able to do, like I said, with great formats like, and platforms like this. And so it'll be people like me, people like, Blakey, because Blakey works with me. So Blakey at some stage will, go and, tread his own path, and, he'll become an advocate for some of the stuff that I've done, and some of the stuff that I've been able to help him to learn. And that's how it will change.
Okay, very quickly, because you're on the flip side to it.
Yeah.
Before you came into the team or in and around football, would you have realised that maybe it's a problem, or is it a thing that you're just kind of just not aware of?
To a certain degree, I think it's.
Or is it like a taboo subject?
I think me is obviously. I think to a certain degree. I think sort of within the media, etc. And I know that there's not enough black managers within inside non-league and the professional game as well. I think, how do you make it better? How do you change it? It's very difficult. I think chairmen have to give opportunities. I think number one. I think obviously Bartley has been at Marlow for 8 years. How many opportunities has he really had? I'm not saying it would have been the right opportunity, but I'm saying how many opportunities has he had to go on and manage at a higher club? I don't know. Only Bart's can answer that. I don't know. I think people have to give people opportunities first and foremost. Yeah. And I think he's done his due course in 8 years. And I think he's done very, very well considering the environment that we started in, or Bart started in, and where he's got to. Because I think in this league, financially, the budget does play a big thing. A lot of teams do pay a lot of money in this league to bring in the right resource to ensure that they get promoted. Like Hayes last year, they won the league by, I don't know how many points it was, but they were paying an awful lot of money. So all of a sudden, it goes hand in hand at this level. But like I said, going back to that thing, I think it's about giving people opportunities first and foremost, from my perspective. Anyway.
Yeah. And have you had like many opportunities outside of Marlow, maybe?
I've had people speak to me. I've had people speak to me. But it's interesting because they always want. So, what I found really when I've kind of decided that these things aren't right for me is because they want me. What they look at is they say, "Oh, you know what? You've done a great job with Marlow, where we know you don't have lots and lots of resources. So we want you to come to our team
and do that again.
Yeah, work with no resources, but also and quite critically for me is we want you to do what you've done, because they look at my players and in their mind they view that my players are not that good individually. So they look at my players and they say, I wouldn't take any of those guys in my team. So what they say to me is, you can come and work your magic with these players that I've already got here. So, I remember speaking to one particular guy once and he was like, I know that at Marlow you don't have much money, but, you could come here, we'll give you that same sort of number. So I'm there thinking, well, this guy's got to be crazy, but, and I think I said to him was like, look, I've got a great relationship with my chairman, which is key to me. I'm about relationships and about respect and everything. So I said, look, I've got a great relationship with my chairman. So, I'm not going to do anything middle of the season, go and then try to hive off my players at the same time. And he said to me, no, but, basically don't bring those players.
Yeah.
Come and work with these players I've got here. I've got some great players here. And I was looking at this guy like, well...
But you even see it, people come to us in the summer and then probably 2, 3, 4 months down the line, they're probably... Could they play technically? Yes, probably. But tactically, could they play? Because we play a different way to other teams. So all of a sudden, if you go into a new environment, it's going to take 3 or 4 months for them really to understand the system. How do we want to play? Because sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself. I mean, sometimes you have to be a team player. People want to be on the front foot, want to be on the ball all the time. But all of a sudden, if we keep a clean sheet and then we go nick one, we've done our job. We've won the game.
Yeah. What is you guys' style? Your main playing style?
So, playing style is to whatever it takes to win. Is first. I'm not wedded to any. I'm not wedded to any approach to any philosophical style of football. I think your philosophical style of football has to be fluid because it depends on the players that you've got, and not always the players that you've got at your club, but the players that are available to you at any given time. Yeah. So we have this thing this season where we've had 4 central midfield players missing. So we start at the beginning of the season, we think, right, we've got these 4. We're saying to ourselves, wow, we're going to have a problem trying to keep everyone happy. Then all 4 of them get injured. And so we go through a stage where we're losing games because we've got the core of our team missing. And then what we've been able to do is, because of the way that we play and the way that we can kind of educate the team to play, we've been able to get ourselves in a position where, you know, you've become competitive. You know, we went through November. I think we conceded 3 goals in November, the least in the whole league. Kept 2 clean sheets, you know, back to back in the last couple of games. So our style of football is first and foremost to win, but it's about the hallmarks. I want you to know that when you come to play against my side, if you want anything from this game, you're going to have to outwork us, and that's the first problem you're going to have, because we're going to work unbelievably hard. We won't take a backward step. We're not going to pull out of any tackles, and we believe that we've got players at the front end that are up here on an unbelievable level. I just want to get them into the right area so that they can express themselves.
Okay, well, I hope you guys, you know, manage to get to your playoffs. Who would you guys say is the best team you lot have come up against this season?
Difficult.
You got me out here wanting to boost up other managers. Toughest
game you've had this season.
Toughest game. I think that when I think about it, I think the games that I think about, knowing it's going to be a tough day, is when we go away to 2 teams. To be fair, I think those guys have got the team set up really well. They move the ball really quickly. The pitch, the dimensions of the pitch, they put their team set up to really hurt you. So they're the guys that I've got a lot of respect for them. I told him after the game, I said to him, I'm going to, if I have to bust the bus, it's one of them. So, you know, but he's, no, they're good guys over there. They work hard. They do a great job of bringing players through as well. So I know that he's always going to have good players there. And so I have to try and think, you know, figure a way out of trying to stop them doing what they're doing and try to get something at the other end.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get into you guys' top 3 managers of all time. We would do players, but sorry, you're on the other side of the.
Yeah, well, you know. That's what it is.
So starting with you, Mark.
So like all times, always a thing. I'll
give you 5. Go on.
No. You know what it is? It's going to be one of the things where it's like the managers that I've seen, right? So. And some of this is going to sound biased but people that know me know the truth that for me, Jose's number 1. Okay. I'm a Spurs fan, but Jose's number 1.
Would he actually be number 1 if he weren't in charge of Spurs right
Absolutely.
now? Okay,
even when he was at Manchester United, I was saying to the guys that supported United that he's the best manager in the world for me. You know, this guy, unbelievable. So I have him as number 1. When I look around, you can't knock what Pep Guardiola's done. So I'm talking about Meyer. You can't knock what he's done. There's always going to be a question mark over Pep for me, but I think, you know, when you go to look at his track record, if Pep's sitting down and he's saying, well, look at my CV, how can you not have me up in your top 3? And I always look at, so for me, almost the era starts for me as managers is when I start to fully assess them when I've been watching them. So, and I guess the next one for me would be Ancelotti, because I just like the way that this guy, I think that he's extremely flexible. I think he's someone else that you wouldn't be able to say has a style, because you watch him and he'll look at the players that he's got and he'll get the most out of them. And you know, no matter which country he went to, he's been able to be effective and competitive. And so for me, I think I've probably not been able to learn as much about him, but I think that, you know, he's operating on a level what I think that most people don't appreciate.
That's what I'm saying. Arsenal need to kind of just get him in, man.
You don't, might. We'll see. You know. So those would be my 3, because, like I said, I think Jose's the best because, you know, this guy changed football. People talk about Pep changing football. Jose changed football in England.
Yeah. Okay, I thought he was going to put Glenn Hoddle in that.
He went to Chelsea, though.
Who would yours be?
I think mine would be Pep to start with. I think Pep would be number 1 for me. I think the way he plays football, etc., I think he's up there with some of the best. Tactically, he's best. I think Jose would be second for me. Jose would be second. And then third would be a wild card, Rafa Benitez.
You know, I'm not mad at that one.
The reason I say Rafa, I think he's done very well at Liverpool. Obviously won the European Cup at Liverpool.
Newcastle did great.
Newcastle, exactly, kept them out of relegation. So I think he can do both sides of the game.
Yeah.
I think he's tactically spot on as well. I think he's very, very good at what he does. I think Newcastle with limited resources again, with Mike Ashley as a chairman as well, is very difficult, I can imagine. So, yeah, for me, I think Rafa Benitez is very, very good. I think he's got a lot more to add to the game.
That's why you trust him. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for coming on.
I appreciate it,
Hope
man.
you lot have had fun.
Yeah.
Keep liking, subscribing, sharing, guys. Questions, comments, everything, just get at us. And make sure you click that subscribe button again. And tell a friend to tell a friend. But until then, we are out.